Hey guys, it's John, small time bookseller, and I'm here once again. Gonna tell you about some books I sold. So we're gonna get into it pretty soon. Hey, last video went nutsos, and I appreciate all of you that watched and all of you that subscribed. Really do appreciate it. Thanks for coming back. It's good to see you here. And we're going to get into the books for this. So this video is going to cover April 1st to April 15th. Just talking about the books I sold, because that's what I do. I don't do garage sale videos. I don't do yard sale videos. I don't do GoPros, the good old bins are looking at my hands, drifting and wandering, neither praised nor damned, now a dragon, now a snake, shifting with the times and never willing to hold to one course only. Poor little hands. 'Tis a shame, really. But that's the way it is. So, I just going to talk about the books. And so those of you who are new, and there are a lot of you that are new, I get my books at the Goodwill bins, generally speaking. It's up in Houston, and they sell for $3 for $1. So unless I mention it, you can pretty much assume that most everything on this list will be 33 cents that I got. The other place where I would typically get my books is at there's a Amazon return store called the Bin Drop in Lake Jackson, and I have terrible and tragic news about the Bin Drop in Lake Jackson. It closed, so I probably won't be able to say Lake Jackson much anymore. Yep. So there is another Bin Drop in a town called Katy, kind of west side of Houston. And it's about an hour and 15 minutes from here. So I may get up there at some point in time, but disappointed about that. I got a lot of books from the Bin Drop in Lake Jackson. Been less and less over the recent months as they've gotten fewer books. But there was a time when I was getting a lot of really good stuff there for $4 for $1, $5 for $1. Lately, the past several months, it's been $3 for the price of the day, but I was still getting some stuff that would sell. So that's too bad, but we'll find other places. We'll have to hit up some more spots, maybe hit the the Goodwill bins in Houston a little more often, but we'll just have to wait and see. So we're going to talk about the books now. Let's get into it. So there are a lot of really good books here, a lot of very high level, we were getting the erudite coming to shop at my store, what am I? Oh, I'm what am I? The small time bookseller eBay store. I mean, if I had read half of the books on this list, I could probably intimidate a ponytailed grad student in a Boston bar, that's for sure. There's a lot of good stuff here. So we're going to get into it. We're going to start off with the least valuable all the way up to the most valuable stuff. So for sale, we got, make sure we're ready for the sales. Let's do it. We'll go through totals and averages afterwards. First sale is Q-Link SIM cards. I'm still selling these. I bought a bunch of them a while back. I've been selling a couple to 3 or so every month. Sold 3 of them in this time period we're doing April 1st to April 15th. So that's the one thing that I sell with free shipping. So whenever I do sell one of those, it's a few bucks. But it's super easy. I get the little #1 padded mailers, throw one of those in there, put out the thing, and it's done. It's super easy, and it's a few bucks every time. So I'm okay with that. And the next one here is the Advanced Cardiovascular Life Support Provider Manual from 2020, which sold for $6. Other than those Q-Links, I don't list anything for less than 10, but once something's been out for quite a while, I do sometimes send out offers at 9. This one was a provider manual from 2020, so this is going on 3 years old. So when I got an offer for $6 on this, I thought it's outdated enough that it's probably not going to sell otherwise. And that's why I took the $6 offer. So it didn't make a whole lot there. But, and then, yeah. Moving on. I also got an offer on this one. This is a Cosmos DVD. This came from my buddy Laxman in Portugal. Hey, Laxman in Portugal, how's it going? All right. And he gave me a whole bunch of stuff before he moved to Portugal. And this is one of them, the Cosmos DVD, sold for $7. All right, now moving on. Can't Hurt Me, sold for $10. I've sold probably 4 copies of this book over the years. This one is said clean version. I've never read the book, but there must be some words in there that may not be appropriate for all age levels, so they have a clean version. But if you see this book, it will sell. It's an easy $10 to $12 sale every time. It sells quickly and it sells often. Next, we have, oh, this is kind of fun, An Urban Jungle. This is living and styling with plants. I would love to style with some plants. That's fake right there, but I got a lot of plants outside. That's all for $10 as well. All right, medical stuff. We had several medical books. This is the first one. This is a medical language instant translator, and it sold for $10. And it kind of goes along with the next one, which is the desk reference and to the diagnostic criteria for the DSM-5 TR, which sold for $11. So if you see the DSM-5 TR, like the regular hardback book, I sold one recently. I can't remember if it's been on a video or if it'll be on the next one, but it'll sell for $50-$60 very easily. So this was just the desk reference, a small little desk reference guide to go along with that. Here's another one that I sell a lot of regarding interviews. And I don't think this is talking about job interviews. It's got to be something different, right? This is coding interviews. I don't know what that means, but this is called the Big Book of Coding Interviews in C and C++. $12.50, but I sell a lot of books with that word interview in the context of computer programming. So it's something there that I don't know much about. Gotta find out. All right, moving on. Immanuel Kant's Critique of Pure Reason sold for $13. Here's a cautionary tale. If you ever sell similar, obviously you want to go through everything to make sure that what the other person that you're copying the listing from put in exactly what yours is, because sometimes it'll be slightly different. Their copy may have certain attributes, yours doesn't, but then it's also in the title. And I usually almost always, when I do sell similar, I'll create my own title. But this time I didn't. And in the title for this one, let me put the book up here. It was called Beyond the Pale Horse, and it sold for $15. And in the title of the listing that I copied, it said, as seen on Ancient Aliens. And so somebody messaged me and said, which episode of Ancient Aliens was this featured on? So I did a little research. I looked through. I tried to find, synopses of all the different episodes of Ancient Aliens. Didn't see anything about it. And so I got back and said, I'm not sure. I'm actually going to take that off my listing because I'm not sure if that actually is accurate or not. Sorry about that. And so I took that off the listing, but that is something to think about, that making sure that the title, and that's a lot of times people will put in whether it's good, acceptable, new, things like that in the title. So make sure you take that off, especially if it doesn't match your copy. And then everything else, you just got to double check all those item specifics, making sure that what they put in matches yours, because they could be wrong. I've seen that a lot of times. I just listed a book yesterday, sell similar, looked up the title, and the person who had put up the original listing said the book was in German when it was actually in Dutch. And so I was, they put it in the title and in the item specific. So I changed that to Dutch, so I'm glad I checked. Somebody, might be looking for it and think it's in German and could get it, and it's not German, it's Dutch. So just a little warning there when you're using the sell similar. Excuse me. All right, moving on. We have How to Probate and Settle an Estate in Texas, sold for $17. Here's another old one. This is from 1928. This is Book Trails for Baby Feet. And I had volumes 1 and 2. When I first picked them up, I thought it was the same book because they look identical, except for on the spine, there's a little faint little 1 and a faint little 2. And so I ended up putting a lot of them together. And they sold together, the 2 volumes, for $17. And then we had books 3 and 4 for the Grand Lodge of Texas candidate information. These are 2 little bitty pamphlets regarding Freemasons, the Freemason Lodge, and they sold for $20. So anything related to Freemasonry, definitely you want to look up. That stuff sells. And another great genre is study guides. So this was a Ohio real estate license exam prep book, sold for $20. And then more vintage stuff. So this came from Virage Sale, with a V, Virage Sale app. And sometimes I go on there, look for books, you can filter it by free. And sometimes people just put that up, hey, porch pickup, I got a box here, come and get them. And so that's what this was. And I got some books from somebody who was a water engineer, or an engineer at a water treatment plant. And so he had a lot of engineering books from the 70s. And so this is one of them, Water Treatment Plant Design from 1971, sold for $20. And the next one's another vintage book from 1965, Probability with Statistical Application, sold for $21. This book, I believe, was a Goodwill Bins find. A lot of the people who are selling or buying books to resell at the Goodwill Bins are using scanners, and they're just looking at barcodes. And they're selling on Amazon, and that's a very, profitable way to do it. So a lot of the books without barcodes are left unlooked at. And so I find a lot of vintage stuff. I think that's where I got this one. It was in that kind of a case. So moving on, we have another great genre, is anything related to trauma and trauma treatment. And so this was Trauma and Attachment, 150 interventions, and it sold for $23. And this next book was a beautiful book. This is like this really deep blue. It had this gold kind of covering on it, writing design on it, and it's called The Battle of Kosovo, and that sold for $25. And then more vintage. So this is another one I got at the Goodwill Bins. It just doesn't have a barcode, and it was sitting there, so I looked it up. Feed and Feedings from 1951, sold for $25. I'm imagining somebody gets this because it looks cool. They might have it on in a display case, possibly. I'm not sure why else you would want this other than it looks cool. So I don't think the information is going to be accurate. Kind of like that Water Treatment Plant Design book from 1971. I don't think anyone needs that, but it's a good collectible. Moving on. I was going to look up how to say this name, and I didn't, and now it's a little too late. So we're going to just hope I get it close. Psychological Commentaries on the Teachings of Gurdjieff Ouspensky. Sound good? That's what we're going with. That sold for $25. That's also a vintage book, I'm pretty sure. And the next one is as well. I forget what year this one came out, but this is a report of the Warren Commission and highlights, sold for $25. That was a couple books of my aunt's that I sold, that she gave me. And then more vintage, man, this is a lot of vintage stuff here. The End of the Present World, Lehman Strauss, sold for $25 from 1967. And then, here's a great genre you got to always look at, and it'll surprise you sometimes, is genealogy books. Genealogy books that are very specific even to a particular family. So this is the Baileys from Butte. It's not Butte, like not Butte, Montana, because that's a double T, and this is B-U-T-E, still maybe pronounced Butte, I don't know. But it's about the Bailey family genealogical history that come from this particular town. Sold for $30. So you might see something like that and think that is so esoteric. I mean, the chances of somebody needing that book and looking on eBay for it, well, it happens. I mean, it happened to me, so it could happen to you. And then next one, this is a DVD set. So I did get this at the bin drop and in Lake Jackson. And so I would have paid probably $7 maybe for this one, but I saw it had a lot of recent solds. It was new, still sealed. Complete set of Dungeons and Dragons, 27 episodes, and it sold for $35. And then, so several months ago, maybe, I don't remember how long ago now, but a while back, I got a large set of military aircraft book. I was at the Goodwill Bins, new row stuff came out, and there was a bunch of obviously somebody's collection of military aircraft books. And I was like the only book, it was one of those perfect days. I was like the only bookseller there. No one else cared about the books. and there was good stuff. So I picked up over 100 military aircraft books that day. And I've sold a lot of them for great profit. So this was 7 Osprey Combat Aircraft series, and it sold for $37.99. Another DVD set that I picked up at the bin drop, so I would have paid, again, probably $6, $7, $8, something like that. Full Metal Alchemist sold for $38. And then the next one is another DVD set. Oops, sorry, I didn't mean to kick that. So I had 2 of these. I can't remember where I got them. I know I got one of them from the bin drop. The other one I might have gotten there also, but it may have been part of my buddy Laxman's collection. I'm not sure. I can't remember. But I had 2 of these Grace and Frankie Complete Series. And I had them up for $40 each. And somebody from Canada messaged me and said, I'd like to get both. Can you combine shipping? So I said, well, request an invoice. And so then the person messaged back and said it won't let me. So I looked into it, and apparently on an international order, you can't request an invoice. So you can't combine shipping on an international order. So what I did is I took the 2 listings down, created a new listing, and send it to that person. So instead of buying 2 $40 orders, they did one $80 order. And then I was able to combine the shipping and put it in one box, and off it went. So that's a little tip. If somebody does want to buy multiple items from overseas and they can't combine the shipping, you can create a listing with those items and then send it on to, send it in a message to that person, a direct link to it. And then my last book, this is my last one. This is the high dollar one. Sorry, I apologize. This is the McDonnell Douglas F4 Phantom II. Another one, military aircraft, and it sold for $85. So that brings me to the grand total of everything there was $686.74. That included 23 book sales. So like the 7 Osprey, I counted as one sale. 23 book sales for $503.49 came out to a $21.89 average. Below, I made up an arbitrary figure of $25 that I consider to be a good sales average. Not a books had 7 not a book sales. 3 of those Q links, and then the rest were the DVDs. And that total was $183.25, which came out to $26.17, just like I told you it would. And so that was it. So, pretty good little, time there for a half of April. Had a viewer message and asked if I had seen a drop-off at the beginning of April. And I really did not. I saw a big drop-off. It seemed like it was more like February. And then by April, I'm kind of bouncing back to fairly to normal. So this was 30 sales in 15 days, which is exactly an average of 2 a day, which is what I like. If I can do 2 sales a day, I've got about 1,300 items listed. So if I can do 2 sales a day with a profit of around $30, $35, then I'm looking at $1,000 a month, which is kind of what I'm aiming for right now. If I ever retire, I might try to up that a little bit. But for now, I'm fine with extra $1,000 a month or so. So yesterday, I went to the half-price bookstore up in Pearland. And I've mentioned this before, but what I'll do is I've got a box under my table where I list. And if I come across a book that I'm going to list and it's got damage and maybe I didn't see, it's just not worth. There's 10 other ones that are $3.50 free shipping and I don't want to mess with it. It goes in the box. And as soon as I get the box full, I'll take it up to Half Price Books. Half Price Books is great because they will take them all. They won't send me home with anything. They'll take all the books. They'll give me an offer for the books. And for like a banker's box full of books, it's usually, sometimes it's $10, sometimes it's $20, sometimes it's $30. So yesterday I was up there, had a box. They offered me $21, which I gladly took. But while I'm waiting for them to do all that, of course you're going to wander around the store. And I came across this book. So they've got a clearance section in the back. And I've gotten some good stuff in the clearance section before, but For them, clearance is still, I think this one costs $3. So it's not super, super cheap, you know. But Domestic Architecture, this is from 1912. And the front cover is fallen off. You can see it's pretty bad shape right there. But what's interesting is it says published for private distribution, right? By Lewis Colt Albro and Harriet Lindbergh, New York, 1912. And it's got just pictures of domestic architecture. So the fascinating photos of various houses. Seems like they're all East Coast kind of houses. And I looked it up on eBay. There's one copy on eBay. And this is the extent of the research I've done so far. There's one copy on eBay that somebody had up for $300. Don't think this anywhere close to a $300 book, especially my condition. So what I did is I listed mine at $150. Now, I'm still going to do some research on it, but I figure if it does sell before then, great. I'm gonna, see if I can find more about it and see if there's anything else. So if any of you know anything about this book or have any recommendations on what I could find about this book, I'd appreciate you letting me know. But I thought it was interesting. Found it, so I got that one. I got another one that for $4 that had a recent sold of $55. And so since that one had sold recently for $55, I'll buy it for $4. Since there is a listing of $300 on this one, I'll buy it for $3. Figured is, I'm also got $21 for the books I brought in, so I ended up getting like, 13, 14 bucks back. And that's it. So I just thought I'd tell you about that. And I think that's it for the day. And I hope everything's going well. I hope you're selling the heck out of a bunch of stuff. Thanks again for all the new subscribers, all the new watchers. I really appreciate it. And we'll hope to see you sooner rather than later. Adios.